So yeah, they won't dispute you supernaturalists on the point that in a narrative that they class as supernatural, any contained, uh, be they explicit mention or implicit logical necessity, uh, non-supernatural or natural concepts go taken for granted as the narrative is cemented and drummed into your head. So yeah, so what the Christians do, you know, this John 3:16 is fucking. It is the creed of the monger. Uh, that out of love, a loving man is brutally mistreated and unjustly killed, so that you line yourself up potentially in following, uh, and can be calculatively outwitted by a bunch of uh, the once again the misuse of schools of philosophical and my personal enemy, the theocrats, the theocratic, pathetic. No, we only came here to help. We only came here to help. So uh, Jesus been sensitive enough to be as wise as Mark suggests he is or was. You can imagine bribe money passed for him being handed over to have put him in a lot of trauma and shock, to the point where escapist thought and the wish for his own, like a death wish, could have been contending with that. And it's a way to I don't consider such moments of, if they're not acted on, I consider them signs of weakness. What can go on in the introspective mind? I think it says a lot about character. See, to me, Jesus' circumstances were unfair from the beginning. It's like it's the total opposite of him dying to give you all eternal life. It's he died far too soon and didn't have any fair rights from the fucking beginning. So, but yeah, crucifixion is obviously a rapey. It's a sex offense as well as a kill, as well as a murder. Because of the nature of the process. You look at what sadists and dominatrix do. So, yeah, unless we get some more definitions that counter these forms of reasoning to come up, perhaps the meaning of supernatural, beyond natural and mysterious. You essentially, in Christianity, you're given this dualism of the physical, the material world, and then the soul, the spiritual realm. They'll say, and they're dualists in that sense. But where I see misuse of spiritualism going on is where the spiritualist language is used to hammer into people's minds a bunch of for the kind amongst the kindest of them, that they'll lose critical thinking faculties, or else, and amongst those disposed to being bad motherfuckers, they'll they'll get that mistreatment, plus we call it a gift from God. Um, all the worst forms of human mistreatment: kidnap, suicide, rape, murder, ceremonial symbolic eatings of flesh. Um, and it's innocent blood targeted, and then covered up and dressed up in this theosophic, um, absurd Gospel of John idiocy. And yes, and he did not die for you or me. What trace is ascertainable of Jesus from what's credited to have been the earliest gospel? I find it admirable. And obviously, no, I should not have been put to death. But yeah, scribes, as you must think. So I've noticed if you have amongst your secular-minded friends and their the secular empathy, I've compared the potential for empathy in the secular mind of the secularist with with the empathy that is autonomous in the Christian mind, and yet, while they can be quite intuitive at picking up on someone said something to you that was horribly wrong, or while they'll pick up on that, and their radar will clue into things like that. Contention with suicide, enduring violent physical mishandling, and sex assault, all disclose that they do not have an instinctive intuition to want to pick up on stuff like that. And the reason that, and then you can match it up and see as you distance yourself, because no one wants to take a confident privilege of trust in another person to share stories of suffering with them if the stories are going to excite them. And that's another reason that people are quite within their rights to dislike Christians, because if they're giving thanks, if their principles are rooted in giving thanks for the mistreatment of Jesus, and they're constantly focused on his death, and then you're quite within your rights to wonder, well, how are they going to are they going to respect your rights? How are they going to treat you? It's their dilemma that you're suffering, you're mistreated, is the will of their God in some respect. That's their dilemma, so long as they're believers. Or it's no dilemma, and God will do mistreatment. And then their empathy towards you is fake and seems insincere. And unless you start making secular friends who care about the rights charter, you got no one to really talk to about what's wrong. Who you aren't going to simultaneously feel them sapping and delighting in your misery at the same time as you try to report to them. And yeah. So that's what is I see this ceremony of communion. It's let's make a biscuit out of Jesus up the hill, suicide, rapey murder biscuits. Mm, But broken just for you. Broken just for you. It brought it. I think it brought something similar to a curse. I mean, there was no point of in Middle Ages of witches genuinely harming harming Christians. They may have cast a spell, what they considered to have been a spell, um, but it would have been the Christians that had beliefs about um, well, more serious theocratic agendas than the witches, and to the point that they thought just to set witches on fire and burn them. And this went on for centuries during the Middle Ages Christian witch hunts. So, you know, yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind witchcraft, and I like a lot of their ideas. I don't subscribe to the label of an ideological demographic, but I like to draw inspiration from certain ideas from um, you could say it's true that I've striven to be a universalist in a sense, but I've also striven to, it's not necessarily to spot the commonalities between all these groups. I like irony and also the differences, what's occurred to some groups of people. The Aborigines reading our story as a life force owed to the land and evolutionary biology, discovering what's now known about genetics and all life having a common ancestor. Um, then this and they had a similar sense in the Dreamtime philosophy before Christian Patrol came, white Christian Patrol. Uh, so yeah, so the Freemasons have this practice called that they consider a secret practice of theirs, sacred to them, called martyring. But it is based on, so this must include a clue to us that their theological principles are rooted in. Uh, there's no real progression, so they're a bit Amish in that way. There's no real progression from 16th century stances on the Holy Bible. You know, and they're so immersed that they don't understand the critique of Christianity from the distant standpoint, because the framework and principles are all the same. It's just you know, if God was the blue shirt and red was the black, and the devil was the red shirt, then it's just, well, what color shirt are you putting on today? It's no, they're still both shirts. The audience's sizes are about the same. Who gives a fuck? Uh, there's too much similarity between them to say that the contests that they're riling from a distance standpoint is it's gonna just produce more mirrors for them to look at themselves and be disgusted than it is gonna show Freemason intellectual supremacy over the Christians, just for believing in population cullings and that the weak should perish. um, and that they make a patron saint of Lucifer and are proud and admiring of Luciferian verbal renegotiations of the biblical God is enough proof, in addition to their um, secrecy, that how are you going to say they would not conspire to map out ways to plan and destroy. Um, yeah, this whole nation is stolen. They've got no right to tell you that you need a medicine just because you understand what the word conspiracy is. They simply do not have a right. And Gary Cans and Roger Toll, why would be better off with a digital card uh, that has our prescription record form digitally stored on it, and a vending machine for medicines, because their agenda their agenda to generate new indications um, is to it's horrendously unhippocratic. It's passing notes behind your back. Uh, Half-wits, really. Half-wit thinking.